It's amazing how close they can get, and
Oh,
you
God.
don't see them, or then you do, and you're like, I can't believe it was able to slip up on us like that. I just want to go to my most recent sighting. It's
Yeah,
I've
tell
only
everybody
ever
that one.
yeah, I've only ever had 2 sightings, and I don't make a big deal out of it because it's kind of embarrassing. I feel like it's my job to get a clear, open video photo of a Bigfoot, and then I see them, and it doesn't happen. These sightings don't happen for very long, and they're gone. It was the last week of August, and Jenny and I were going on top of Monte Cristo Mountain to some springs up there where, this is a local haunt. This is only 60, 70 miles from where we live. We know 7 people personally over the years that have saw Bigfoot up around those springs.
Wow.
So
That's a lot.
yeah,
Imagine how many more there are if that's just the ones you know personally. Oh, my God.
So we're going up to service these cameras. We both have to pee really bad. They closed the last public restrooms at the bottom of the mountain. They had them shut down for some damn reason. They're never closed. We're about halfway to the top of the mountain, and we just couldn't take it anymore. And we pulled off on some random dirt road we had never been on before, got down that dirt road and pulled off at the first opportunity. I jump out of the truck, and I just pee right next to the truck, whatever. And Jenny goes and hides in the trees. I keep a close eye on her, whether you know it or not. I keep a close eye on her in the woods. So I'm kind of like, all right, Jenny, and pretty soon she comes back and we jump in the truck. Well, I go to throw it in reverse and I look up in the mirror, and standing behind us about 30, 35 feet away up on an embankment behind a fallen over tree or a log was a Bigfoot. But that's not what my brain registered at first. 1,000 things went through my mind in a second. I was thinking it was some dude, and I even said that, and it's giving me the creeps. I'm like, that guy watched us pee. And
that pervert.
and I told Jenny, I go, there's some dude back there. And as soon as I said that, and I'd probably watched him for a split second or two, that's when it registered. Was no dude. Dark brown, head to toe, and just huge. And as soon as I said that, it split that direction behind me in my rear view mirror and went out of the frame of the mirror in the back window. When we're up there, we have cameras in grabbing distance, and I snatch my camera beside me, and Jenny could tell by the look on my face. She's like, that wasn't a guy. And I roll out and go running for it. And Jenny's all like, you're not armed. And I'm like, grab something. And I go running up to that log. And I think with my adrenaline that, I should have some fear, but my adrenaline, got the better of me. And I go running up to that log that it was standing behind. And that's when I realized, I knew it was big, but I mean, it was huge. I could see, it was on the other side of the log. I could see the gap between its thighs and its upper thighs on the other side of that log. I get up to the log, and that log's hitting me at the upper belly button. So this thing is 2.5, maybe 3 feet taller than me and much wider, just big. And it split that direction, and immediately we start picking up its tracks. They're Bigfoot tracks, and we track it, and we eventually find a second Bigfoot tracks. There was more than just that one, and there usually is. I mean, people that stereotype it as a lone creature, that's not so. If you find some Bigfoot tracks and you look around carefully enough, you'll usually find that there's another one or more. They stay in small family groups or whatever they are. Well, we tracked this thing. We lost and picked up the track several times to private property. And there was no need to go on private property, which I won't without permission anyway. But you could see where it stepped over the fence. And this fence is hitting me about lower chest level.
Oh,
and,
God.
And it looks like it stepped over it, no problem, from private property onto public land. These tracks were about 17 inches long by 8 inches wide at the toe splay. Not sure if it's the one that I saw, but more than likely they come over for public property. And then after we had our sighting with them, they probably ran back that same direction. They're smart enough to know that there's less presence and less people pressure on these private properties. I'm pretty sure if the deer figure it out, you ever notice during hunting season, the day before hunting season opens up, you see herds of deer, and then all of a sudden hunting season and you don't see them anymore. And a lot of them head for private properties where there's less human pressure. I'm sure the Bigfoot knows where to be too. But anyways, a storm was rolling in. It was getting dark. We finally had to leave. That was my second sighting. This one wasn't as massive as the first one, even though that first one was a quarter mile away and this one was only 35 feet away. I could tell that this 7.5 Bigfoot was smaller than my first sighting in 2018.
Do you think he learned his lesson? Man, the last time I watched humans pee, they tracked me 2 miles through the woods. I'll never do that again.
Yeah, I think something's wrong with me. I think I've gotten desensitized to the fear for some reason, because most people see something like that, a monster coming to life. A normal person would have stayed in the car and split. Instead, I'm diving out and running after the damn thing. So
I'm up at my Bigfoot sighting location a year and a month after it happened, and I kind of want to walk you guys through it first person. And this happened fast. It's going to take a hell of a lot longer for me to tell you about it than how it happened. I probably saw the Bigfoot 2 or 3 seconds tops before it split and was gone. Jenny and I were headed to the top of Monte Cristo Mountain to service 6 game cameras that we keep up there. They've been up there like 9 years or whatever it is, near some mountaintop springs where there's like close to a dozen Bigfoot sighting reports. 7 people over the last 40 years, some recent, some as long as 40 years ago, has saw the creature up there. So this mountain's a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. We were only halfway up the mountain. We're near a place called Derry Ridge. We pulled off. I'm only like 50 yards off pavement, the main road. We pulled off. It was kind of an emergency. Jenny had to go to the bathroom bad. So did I. And she took off and hid in the trees, the pine trees off over that way, to go to the bathroom. And I, just being a guy, I just stepped off right the front corner of my truck and I peed right there. And then I stood right there and watched in the direction for Jenny, making sure, you know, everything's okay. We're in the mountains. Then she came back. When she come back, we both hopped into the vehicle at the same time, closed our doors. I started my vehicle and then I looked up into the rear view mirror, and you guys can see that back there. I look in the rear view mirror to back up and see that log back there. I saw a figure standing there, and like 100 thoughts went through my mind all at one time. You know, I was just creeped out. I thought it was some dude that was standing there watching us pee, you know, and he's off on the side of Jenny's side of the car. So I'm just like, this is so creepy. That went through my mind in a split second, and I say to Jenny as I'm looking at him, oh my God, there's a guy back there. And just as I said it, I realized it wasn't no guy. Dark brown, head to toe, just huge. And see that log? He's on the other side of the log, and I can see the gap between his thighs back there. I mean, that's not very far behind my vehicle. 30-40 feet up on that embankment behind that fallen over tree. And as soon as I realized it wasn't a dude, and this all happened over like 2-3 seconds tops, it darted my side of the car, my direction, into the thick trees, and so it disappeared from the frame of my rear view mirror and my window. Well, I reached for a camera that we always have close by. I want to show you where, and this is the very camera that I snatched. I hurried and reached for the camera, and Jenny could see by the look on my face and me reaching for the camera Jenny's like, that wasn't a guy, was it? And as she's saying that, I'm bailing out the door, running after this Bigfoot. So I bail out and I take off running where I saw it. And see, this is just the little dirt road that I was on. There's pavement up that way. And I go running up here. And when I get up to the log, see, it was standing behind that log and it ran off that way. Well, there was actually leaves on the tree at the time. I get up to this tree that it's standing behind, and this hits me at the belly button. This hits me at the belly button, and it was standing right there. It took off that direction. It ran behind this tree and off that way. So it was probably standing, I mean, right there or whatever it was. But when I got up here and seeing this log hit me at the belly button, and I could see like a foot of gap between its thighs and its crotch, between its legs, I knew that it was huge. And that's when I took a pause, like, oh, should I be running after it? But anyway, I'm scanning for the dang thing, and then Jenny catches up to me, and Jenny comes running up and she says, you have no protection. So I went back to the vehicle and grabbed my mace and then started looking for it again. Well, right away we noticed that there was two really nice tracks in this landing area before the fallen over log. On the other side of this log, we found dozens of tracks, and it looks like it was bedding down. I'm thinking it was napping behind this log when we pulled up, and then it started observing us before it ran off. Well, we spent like an hour and a half tracking it off that way through the trees. Ended up finding two sets of tracks. The one right here had a little over 14-inch tracks, and we found another one that was close to 18 inches, and we tracked them to private property. And there was no need to go over on the private property because the large one, you could see, stepped over the fence onto the other side, onto public lands. But that's kind of where we lost it. It was getting dark and a storm rolled in. It was actually a very bad storm when it started raining, sleeting, and snowing that day. Well, I didn't walk you guys through that day very well, my sighting, because I was more concerned about catching back up with the creature to get it on camera. It's just unfortunate. If it had been on the front of my vehicle, as soon as I turned my vehicle on, my dash cam starts going, but it was in the rear view mirror. These animals know what they're doing. They come up behind, observe you from behind. Anyways, I'm gonna poke around up here today at my Bigfoot sighting spot. And something else I would like to point out, and we realized it after we did the tracking and everything, we didn't make it to the game cameras that day. About 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles that way, if you can do a straight line. Year earlier, wasn't even a year earlier, it was probably 9-10 months earlier, Matthew Anderson come face to face with two Bigfoots about a month after the Sinks Bigfoot was filmed about 20 miles north of here. So you start putting it all together, maybe the same two Bigfoot in the area. Perhaps one of them was the one on the film and one of them was the one I saw. I mean, I very well may have saw the one that was in the Sinks Bigfoot video that was filmed a year earlier. Who knows? But I thought I would walk you guys through that. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.
The Sinks Sasquatch video in Logan Canyon of Utah. We realized after doing a size comparison on location using a man that is 6 feet tall and 220 pounds how large this Sasquatch is. It's around 1 to 2 feet taller than he is and is over twice as wide and twice as thick. Searching in the direction the creature was walking, we discovered dozens of tracks along a creek that are around 15 inches long and nearly 8 inches wide at the toe splay. Amazing video of a Sasquatch when compared to a large man.
6 days after this video was filmed, several people reported seeing a Bigfoot near their camp about 5 miles south near Franklin Basin. Then 4 weeks later, a man comes face to face with 2 large Bigfoot around 20 miles south on the Monte Cristo mountain, a place well known for Bigfoot sighting reports. Perhaps one of the 2 Bigfoot he saw was in the video filmed 6 weeks earlier. 6 days after the video footage, RMSO found evidence of 2 different sized Bigfoot tracks in the area, one around 15 inches in length, the other 17 inches in length, suggesting 2 individual Sasquatch in the area. Then, 6 weeks later, when Matthew Anderson comes face to face with 2 large Bigfoot, RMSO is on the scene within hours, and we find 2 sets of Bigfoot tracks, just hundreds and hundreds of tracks. One set around 15 inches in length, the other around 17, suggesting that the 2 Bigfoot seen 20 miles north in Franklin Basin 4 weeks later may be the same Bigfoot he comes face to face with in the Sourdough area. Amazing set of events in a Bigfoot sighting hotspot. I hope you guys enjoy a look at this video. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.
16. Hit the hill, it's close to 6. Up near the toes, it's 8. That fits.
Well, it comes up the side of the mountain, right over there. You can see where it even goes across the road.
See, an elk has not stepped in these ones like the other ones. Elk are famous for breaking snow for each other, or taking a path that's already been broke. And down there, we found some Bigfoot shaped tracks, and you could see where an elk come behind and had stepped in them. These are definitely Bigfoot shaped. We come up closer?
Yeah.
16 again. Almost 6, about 5, and yeah, just like the last one. Up near the toe area, 8. And let's see the...
That is true.
What?
I didn't really think about that. I mean, it looked small to me, but then when you're doing it, it doesn't look doable. Well, it's not doable for me.
Yeah.
When I was coming through the trees over there, I was clear up to my thighs in some places.
Let's measure that one real quick. This one's...
Oh, a little kid could fit in that one.
It shows 17 by over 8 there. At the hill, 6. It's been defined with 16.
I was hoping that... Oh, there they... See, I thought that they crossed right here, but they don't. They go over here. This is definitely not what I saw from up there.
Especially right here, I slowed down quite a bit because of the snow. And I was kind of just looking up, looking around, and then seen something move. And at first I thought it was a black bear because the color, and I wasn't thinking of Sasquatch at the time. So it moved, and it was like, it was up, you know, bipedal. So I hit the brakes, backed up, and was walking in there, and that's when we made contact.
But we didn't see any bear. The only thing that we saw is bobcat, elk, and then some Bigfoot shaped tracks. And then in the direction that you saw it, a little bit further back by those logs, picked up some and that were Bigfoot shaped, and it looks like an elk. It looked like an elk walked through them after the Bigfoot walked through.
My lungs are about done though, so...
What do you see? Some Bigfoot shaped tracks here?
There, and look at the...
You can see where it drug its feet on top of the snow. It was It looks to me actually it was heading that direction. Looks like it stepped up there, swept the snow. So if that was its left foot, that's its right. Stepped from there with the left, swept right there, stepped. And these have filled in a little bit with wind and taken some sun damage. But it goes off into the trees.
The following year at the film location, we go back and look around again and find more Bigfoot tracks. One of them was amazing where it jumped the creek and we cast that actual track. Here it is.
All right, that's just amazing. What's most amazing to me is how far it sunk in, and I can't even hardly make an impression, because you see where I jumped up and down right next to it, and I got closer to the water where it was hopefully soft, but that thing made an impact from jumping across the river, I'm suspecting, or a creek, whatever you want to call this. All right, want to measure one of the other tracks that we saw over here close to the water. See, it's not jumping over here, it's just walking around, and it still sinks in deep as hell. Let's see, this one to the big toe area and the hill is just a little over 14 inches. Now I want to point out to you guys that a footprint is the damage it's doing to the substrate, the soil, and different conditions. It'll do different damage. It's not necessarily the true identity of the foot. Did you hear that? I heard like a whistling, screeching sound to our left while I was talking. Off that way. Wow. People, I've gotten 2 reports of vocalizations in this area. So Jenny and I come right to the closest spot that we have found footprints before, and we have found dozens in this area, casted one. And this one right here is definitely a candidate to be cast. Crazy.